AMD is down 8.5% today. I lost my ass. I lost about $232,000 today. Still up, obviously, for the year. Most of this loss today was from AMD, about $100,000 of it. Affirm and GameStop were also swing trades that I ended up getting stopped out of. But I want to explain in this video why I entered AMD, what went wrong, why I held it until the end of the day, very important thing there that we have to go over, and where I see AMD going in the next couple of days. Specifically, too, I want to talk about how I handle losses because the size of this loss obviously sucks relative to how we've done just this year. It's not that much, but still taking losses and doing it, in the past couple of weeks, you can see we haven't been as consistent as we normally have. It sucks. But at the end of the day, it's part of the game. No matter what your win rate is, no matter how great of a strategy you have, you're going to have max drawdowns. You can see that within the past year, we have had plenty of drawdowns, but each and every single one of them has always led into a higher high. And so for me, taking losses isn't hard because I've been doing this for 9 years. I equate it to kind of being jacked. Like if you were jacked, which I don't really know too much about that, but I assume that if you were jacked and you have a six pack, it takes a lot of work to get there. But once you're there, actually maintaining it is a lot easier because even, for me, even if I feel like I'm putting on some weight, I know that if I just tidy things up and I get very serious for 6 to 8 weeks, I can kind of bring it all back into a manageable level. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm losing in the stock market. I know that it sucks. I feel that I would rather be making money, but I know that I've taken these types of losses before, and I know that I will make it back in due time. I don't have to revenge trade. I don't have to force anything. If people's views of me on the internet change, then screw it. They're not people who understand trading enough anyway to understand that you're going to have max drawdowns. And I just feel like overall people have a hard time accepting losses because they just don't want to do it. Like I know it's so simple, but I will sit down with students and I will teach friends and I will show them the returns and the max drawdown. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. So I could have made blank return and my max drawdown's 30%. I would totally do that. But do you actually understand what a 30% drawdown in your account is? If you have, $100,000, that means from $100,000 up to $200,000, you had a $60,000 pullback. That's pretty drastic in a portfolio. And so, yes, even though you're looking at the longer term growth of the fund, those pullbacks still suck. Now, the way that I look at, if what I'm doing is right or wrong is not by what my portfolio's profit and loss is, but instead, have I been sticking to the actual script and my trading style? And so that's what we're going to talk about right now when it comes to AMD. So my reason for entering this trade, and we had two of them. One was a September call, which I probably could have held on to for $920, $165. And then the other position was August 9th, which I needed to get out of. I had way too big of a position. I scaled out a little bit on Friday. I was averaging down today because I thought that we're going to see it bounce, but I ended up closing those out as well. The reason for the entry on those August 9th is because price has obviously pushed up to this high. We saw price sell off. We had a nice relief rally. Price was selling off again going into earnings. And what we were seeing right after earnings was higher lows on the BX trender. Now, the higher low on the BX trender after a massive sell off does not mean that the bottom is in, but it does mean most of the time that we're going to take a good bounce. And in most cases, we're not going to bounce all the way back to all-time highs. What we're going to bounce to is called our golden zone. So if we take a Fibonacci retracement from swing high to swing low, which what I thought was swing low, you have to remember this death candle here was not here earlier. What we were seeing at the time was that price bounced off of that level, was closing, and it looked like we are going to see this run back up to 168, maybe at best case $172. And my plan was to enter as I did, right around here. I was looking to take profit up around this level, and I was looking to set a stop loss at lower lows. Now, at the time, what I was looking for, if you follow me on X, that's where I post my real-time trades publicly, I was waiting for a pullback into that 140 area because that was going to be my optimal trade range for this potential breakout. So you can see that, yes, even though this trade did not work out the way that I wanted, we had a 4-to-1 risk versus reward ratio. So even with a 65% win rate, you're going to kill it if you hit trades like that, 10, 20, 30, 40 times. Maybe not the next trade. In this case, this was just worst case scenario, but over the next 20, 30, 40 trades, you will do more than fine. So you can see that at this point, everything is looking great to move its way back up to 140. Then obviously today, we get this pullback into this 140 level. And a lot of people would probably say, well, why didn't you stop out? The reason for that is that everything that I trade off of is based on candle closure, specifically the daily candle closure. So the 2 prior days, we had higher lows, which means that we could have seen price bounce, close at 144. This chart would have looked totally different, and then we could have ran back up to 168. So I had to wait until the end of the day to close this out. And now, does it suck, taking a $100,000 loss? Yes. But did I do anything wrong here? Other than probably averaging down a little bit too much? No. Right? I took my profits yesterday when we ended up hitting that high. I re-entered. I averaged down a little too heavy because I did take 1/3 average down at like $133 near lows today. And then I ended up hitting my stop loss when I was supposed to. So this trade didn't work out, but will it work out over the long run? Of course it will. There are many pullbacks that I've had in my career. There are many pullbacks that you guys have seen me have just in the past 8 months that we've obviously come back from. And so I hope that you guys had a good day. I know that losing sucks. I hope that we see AMD bounce here because I do think a lot of people are currently long on this. And I do think that there's a chance that we will probably see this thing continue to pull back to worst case, maybe $120 before we get a sizable bounce. I hope this video helps, guys. Thanks for all the support. If you want to get access to all of my free resources and all of our courses, as well as learn the exact indicators that I trade with in order to make $600,000 in 6 months, which now we're up to 1.3 million in about 8 months, and we were at like 1.7. So a little bit of a pullback. Shit happens. I'll see you guys next time.